Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It is 6:06 on this Thursday morning in your nation's capital. We're at National Harbor at Radio Row, getting things done here as CPAC 2025 kicks off in just 4 hours with Vice President J.D. Vance on the main stage. I've already confessed my man crush on J.D. Vance. I'm pretty open and honest about it. And so that's why I'm kind of shocked that I made it through Secret Service. They did sort of scrutinize me a little extra. I've got to be on a list somewhere. Given the opportunity, I will stalk the hell out of J.D. Vance. I think the guy's amazing. Joining us later this morning, Kurt Schlichter is going to swing by. Matt Schlapp will swing by. Dr. Robert Malone, we're expecting at 7:05, and at 8:05, K.T. McFarland. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor here. We're waiting for Mercedes Schlapp to make it through Secret Service. It really is actually intense, I have to say. And knowing that J.D. Vance was going to be the first today, it meant that they had to put up their operation through the night. And by the way, there's been a lot of discussion about the Secret Service and issues there and leadership there. But this detail is the best of the best. They are fantastic, these guys. They did a great job. They were all ready for us at 4:20. 425 for the first sweep of people to get up to Media Row. What they've been doing is they shut the whole thing down, sweep the entire ballroom, they got to sweep everything, right? But the Gaylord at National Harbor has been designed with this in mind. They have ways of like shutting down one whole wing of the hotel and then being able, letting Secret Service go through every nook and cranny, because presidents have spoken here ever since the place has been built. And so they worked all through the night, shutting down this whole side of the building. They swept through the night. At 4:20, they allowed a handful of people for Media Row purposes to come up and set up to start our radio shows. Of course, we were part of that team. But then they shut it all down again. And that's what's happened to Mercedes, our co-host this morning, and a couple of our guests apparently as well. So as we just saw another wave of people get through, but then they shut it down again. So they're just letting dribs and drabs come through. By the time, if you're heading down here for the 10 o'clock start, by the time we hit 7 a.m., everything will be fully operational, and they'll just be getting people through like you're at the airport. But right now, because they're still doing their preliminary overnight sweep, it's a little clunky, I'll be honest. But rightly so. You want the place secure. We've seen too much this year over the course of the last several months about threats on the president's life, and God forbid, we need to make sure that this man is secure, and Vice President J.D. Vance, and all of us are secure. So if you're coming down, give yourself time, don't get frustrated, and be nice and thank all the Secret Service people because they're doing a great job. Now, I want to turn to a topic that we were going to broach this yesterday, but we didn't have time to really give it enough focus. But I want to talk about it now. It's the idea of a Doge dividend. And by the way, it's funny. We were going to talk about this yesterday because we saw it sort of percolating in the news. We saw some people discussing it on social media, and then lo and behold, President Trump at a summit down in Miami yesterday having to do with crypto and digital economy, he floated the idea during his remarks. He said, we're considering a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens, and then 20% goes to paying down the debt. And then I guess the other 60% just goes back into the general fund for the government. But the whole idea of a Doge dividend is that with all of these efforts that you're seeing, led by Elon Musk's team through Russ Vought and the director of OMB, you see these programs being shut down. You see all of this money that had gone to USAID. You saw the building where USAID was housed, and you see the sign coming down from the front of the building. Oh my gosh, we've just wiped out this whole agency. Well, however many billions of dollars that used to go there, however many billions of dollars we just saved in waste, fraud, and abuse at EPA or at Social Security Administration or at the Department of Labor or whatever other ridiculous program that Elon Musk is exposing and Donald Trump is saying cut it, kill it. What they're saying is that for every one of those programs, you get to get the money in your pocket. you get to see a direct benefit. In fact, one person set up a scenario where the Doge dividend would end up being like $5,000 for every American citizen. And so this has created a bit of a debate. It's like, should every American citizen get a Doge dividend and a direct payoff for all of these efforts? Or should that money go to pay off the debt? Should the money go back into the government funds? Should we get a tax break permanently so it never gets paid off again? What do you want from this? And
Give
Mercedes
the money
Schlapp wants the money in her pocket. Good morning, Mercedes. How'd everything go with Secret Service?
Obviously, I couldn't get up here. I should have listened to Heather Hunter. I was like, I'm going to get through. I mean,
I'm Mercedes freaking
with me, and they're
Schlapp.
like, no, you've been
Secret
kicked
Service-
out of your own conference.
Secret
That's
Service
great.
is like, and you are.
And you are.
And you're with. You should have done your Melania accent.
I tried with the fake lashes. Nothing worked. Nothing worked.
You look fabulous.
But then we found
glad
Kurt,
you're
so
here.
now
And
Schlichter's here.
Kurt, you might want to put your microphone. No, it's actually on your headset there, buddy. Yeah, see, this is the difference between a radio professional and
A guy who does his podcast from his car.
and a guy who does his podcast.
Do you really
from
do
his
your
car.
podcast from your car?
He does. He'll be
course.
driving down the 405 in
Kurt.
LA.
Is that
Pay me
when
enough to do it better.
Well, he does live in California, so he's in traffic all
He's
the time.
got lots of
I
extra
am.
time.
Well, I'm here. Mercedes, nice to see you. Looking lovely.
Wow, it was a shock to see you this morning.
I
You
gotta
survived
tell you,
Secret
your
Service.
people are on it. I showed up at the Secret Service thing, and they're looking at me like I'm like some sort of hoodoo.
Yeah.
And
You do.
Welcome to my world.
I'm Kurt Schlichter. Like, oh. Everybody back the hell off. We didn't get him through, so I literally had like 3 people. And Matt was like joining in. Although he's like, we have a dress code, Schlichter.
Schlichter.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
you-
yo, I can't wear pants.
You are wearing pants. I'll
know
give
that-
you that. But you have
Barely.
bedhead for days. This is not a
Oh
good
my
look.
gosh. I looked myself in the mirror. I'm like, it is Larry
Do you mind
O'Connor.
if I could take a picture of you? And post it
Yes,
all
we did.
over
We did post
social
this on
media?
social media.
I look like
You
a
know, the
hobo
vice-
who got thrown up by a hobo who ate
You-
him.
You know, you know the vice president's going to show up here in like 4 hours. How are you going
Exactly.
to go get dressed? And you're going to have to go out
I'm
and come
not.
back in.
I have to go to a different place to meet different
What
important
is this
people.
Well, that's
different.
right. He's got business in town.
I
with,
got business in town.
with
although,
part of the
although
new
JD
regime.
and I are Cincinnati K-Dogs, so we're disposed.
What the heck is that? What is that?
K-Dog, I think, is
That's
his
my
nickname for
street name.
himself. Yeah, Kurt.
Okay.
And Kurt, at any given moment, is either from Ohio or Pennsylvania or San Mateo, California.
It all depends on what's beneficial.
Well, you know,
Depending on his-
they maybe they should go from you can have like they went from multiple genders to 2 genders. Maybe
That's
they
right.
can go
You
from
can
multiple
identify.
states to
I'm-
just pick 2 states.
I'm
okay,
geographically promiscuous.
Yeah, just geographically, though. But you mentioned the vice president. Well, you know what?
Great
I want to
guy.
have this conversation because Mercedes is kicking things off with the vice president
know.
on stage like 4 hours from now. I'm sorry, do you need to know the password
Yeah, I was
to
gonna
your
give it to
own
Heather.
Wi-Fi? All right.
Sorry.
We're going to get Mercedes settled in here, and we're going to talk
I need a
about
coffee, Larry. Go
It's
get me a
password
coffee.
Oh, we'll get you coffee, too.
69.
Stop it. 6:15 WMAL traffic and weather. Save that for Saturday. Save that for your car podcast.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live.
All right, it's 6:16 now, and we're continuing here at Radio Row as everyone's sort of getting settled from their whirlwind. Kurt Schlichter is here, and I don't think he's ever going to leave now, actually, now that you've gotten through.
You got 3 hours of me.
Mercedes Schlapp, not only are we blessed to have you here, of course,
Aw,
on
thank
most
you.
Thursdays here
Yes.
on O'Connor and Company, but you are sort of the big deal today because you're going to be doing one-on-one with J.D. Vance on the stage to kick things off. And you
Yeah.
know how much I love this
I
guy.
know. I feel like Larry, you should just go and like photobomb it. Just go up there and be like, I'm taking over. I'm gonna.
I
ask
am
the
so jealous of
questions."
you right now.
You know.
So what are you going to talk about?
So, it's wonderful when you have a really brilliant senior at University of Notre Dame who absolutely loves J.D. Vance as well, and her sweet boyfriend is here with her.
Viana's boyfriend is
Oh, yeah,
here?
this is a big deal.
Oh,
You're
I'm
gonna
going to have to
meet
screen him.
So
yeah.
just to say that one of our staffers, Turner, who you know so well, he goes, "This is Keegan's make it or break it moment. If he cannot survive CPAC, he cannot survive the
That's
We
true.
have a
Schlapp
buried
family."
lead here. Keegan.
Keegan, his
Keegan.
name is Keegan.
Okay, were there too many Cadens?
I'd say he sounds like he's named like he's going to be pouring lattes for people as a barista.
Keegan.
Keegan,
Hey,
fetch me a
hey,
latte.
Excuse me, Keegan.
You can't have your son-in-law named
There he
Keegan.
is. Oh my gosh! Wait. Anyways, there comes my oldest daughter, Beata, and we're talking
Yes,
about
we're talking about your
her
boyfriend across
on
all
air,
of WMAO.
And she's blushing. But Beata was instrumental.
So she set up your questions and topics for JD Vance?
Well,
this
we
is cool.
brainstormed together,
Yeah.
and I think the key is I really want – what I love about JD is his authenticity. I think people – yes, we're going to dig into the fact that we are literally – it's a happy – month anniversary, okay?
It is the 20th. 1 month. It's only been a month.
1 month.
It's a month.
1 month. So we're
That's amazing.
We're going to tackle obviously these accomplishments that the President Trump's administration has been able to do. I mean, in warp speed. And then on top of that, I want to really move into like what drives him, what inspires him.
Yeah.
Tell us about like Usha, what's Usha's best advice? Like what's the best advice you've received from Usha? Like I want to dig into JD Vance the person because I think there's a part.
Are.
What?
Long walks on the beach. You know, that kind
This
of
isn't a centerfold thing.
What type of what's your music selection? You know?
Actually, I would like to know.
Great
like a good
question.
test. Because if he's like, I hate that 80s stuff.
Yeah.
It's
well,
totally lame. I'm like,
We're done.
Well, you have to
Look,
understand.
he's younger than we
he
are.
grew up.
Kurt.
He's a millennial, and he grew up in Appalachia. So he's not going to have this. He's not going to like your Thatcher Reagan punk rock stuff. that you
Thatcher
like.
Reagan punk. You mean the stuff Andrew Breitbart
The stuff
liked.
Andrew Breitbart
You
liked.
communist
You
bastard.
guys are really aging yourselves so much.
Yes.
Oh
Well,
my
so
God.
we are who we are.
I'm watching both of you going, oh, my Lord. Okay, so if you all have any questions that you want me to ask him, I'm very open to it.
All right, well, we'll brainstorm that through and anybody who's listening, everyone who's listening, if you want to reach out to us on social media, throw some questions Mercedes' way. We'll see what they
At
say.
Mercedes
How
Schlapp.
about what's the deal with airline food?
No, let's
That's more
focus
for Sean
maybe
Duffy,
on,
so
yeah,
there you go.
exactly. That's
that
a
really is. That's
defense
got
That's
his
more of a
secretary
Sean
thing.
Duffy type of question.
Kurt, today, and I wanted to mention this to you, Kash Patel's going to be confirmed by the Senate.
I know, right?
While we sit here today, they should stick it on the big screen as the vote comes in.
That's
That
a
would be so
great
amazing.
And you have to
idea.
say it,
Sure.
cash.
How excited are you right now for Kash Patel? This whole transition.
I'm positively
Kurt,
turgid. I mean,
your column today is about sort of or your whole theme this week has been about enjoying the victory right now. It's like we not only should
ride
we
the wave, baby.
yeah ride
That would
the
be
wave.
my columns at townhall.com.
Yeah, townhall.com, your column. Yeah.
Today is God. I don't even know what today is. Today is we need an information operation.
Yeah.
To really set the agenda to find the problems and solve them publicly, loudly.
Well, do you think
brutally.
Musk is doing a good job of that right now?
I think he is. I think we need to provide him an infrastructure. Look, Musk is great. We cannot rely on Musk to do everything for us
Why?
because he's not going to be there.
He's
for us.
too busy rescuing astronauts.
I know. The guy's going to be like, I got me and Bruce Willis got to go blow up an asteroid.
I find him, I don't know, where he just never stops. Like it's like Donald Trump. They just never
My
stop. It's like
favorite
they
part of the
completely work.
Hannity interview was, the two of them are sitting there,
Yeah.
they're talking, and then they said, by the way, aren't you going to be rescuing astronauts up
Yeah,
at the space
exactly.
station? And Trump's like, yeah, when are you going to do that launch? It's like, what else is this
Yeah,
guy
it's
doing?
like a sideline. Yeah, I'm rescuing astronauts after I cure cancer.
But you make a good point because this is like the flavor of the month, and everybody's excited about finding waste, fraud, and abuse. And yes, there's some systemic things that need to be fixed, but this needs to be a long-term. Like this is what the government does all the time, not every 70 years.
Exactly, and the reaction against Musk, this bizarre reflexive. I can't believe you're stopping waste. How dare you?
Oh, no. Now the new narrative is, of course, we all want to stop that. It's the way you're going about it.
Right,
yeah, you're
right.
too mean.
You're too mean. Well, I do think I would love to see Doge in all the different states. I think they talk about
yes.
go into these states and clean up their budgets. Like I'll tell you, like City of Alexandria. I mean, we pay, I don't even know, tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. I mean, ridiculous amounts of taxes. And we ask ourselves, where's the money going?
Yeah.
Where is it going?
Not
Where's the
street
transparency?
repairs.
Yeah, so
because your potholes are
Doge
awful
can
right
be
now.
a whole enterprise right now.
Doge should be a continuing thing. Of course, I'm from Los Angeles.
Well, that's a lost cause.
But I'm 12 miles away from where the fire was. I love it that our borderline clinically moronic governor was like, it's going to take 3 years, maybe 5 years to repair everything. And I'm like, I can't care more about you than you do because you elected her, you blithering idiots.
Actually, in our final minute here in this segment here, you mentioned Los Angeles, and we three have one other person in common, and that's Rick Grinnell.
Oh,
Talk about
who's
doing
in my neighborhood?
He lives near you. Talk about doing 1,000 things at the same time. He's in charge of the fires, rescuing hostages, and now he's running our Performing Arts Center up the street.
He actually went and changed the oil on my BMW.
He's pretty.
And
great
it's
that way.
funny because
Wait, for real?
Yes, we'll be at the like Trader
hilarious.
Joe, and like I'll be like picking up like orange chicken, and I'll be like, "Oh, Your Excellency."
I don't
He's
think
gonna be like right there.
He's not the Pope, but Rick Grinnell, we
that's
launched
Your
our.
Holiness. We don't call him Your Holiness.
I'm a Protestant. Okay?
He's not
The
even
Pope,
Catholic,
The
by the
Pope's
way.
just some guy to me.
Oh,
Okay.
that's true. Just so you know that in terms of Rick Grinnell, he came in yesterday. We launched our
part of your-
CPAC International
You
Summit.
hung out with Rick? I haven't seen Rick yet.
Oh, we were with Rick the whole night, and he really explained the detailed story of the release of
That
the
was with this
Venezuelan.
loser.
Yeah, you were with me.
The Americans who've been in jail in Venezuela, and just
Which
gave
we
such
didn't
a
know about
moving
until he
got
account
free.
on that.
Yeah.
And I thought for Rick, he really is. He tells us, he goes, I'm working 7 days a week. He just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And it's literally because the president, it's like he said, he goes, the president knows that certain people can fix certain things. And so he's just saying, hey, I need you to go and fix this issue or this other issue, which I think is fascinating.
All right.
I
More
agree.
stories about Grinnell as the morning develops. Mercedes, Kurt, go take a shower.
Oh, my
and,
gosh,
start
that's
your day.
so personal.
And coming up, Matt Schlapp is going to join us, and we're going to talk about your future son-in-law, Keegan. It's
Oh, boy.
6:24.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
6:37 now. We're live on Radio Row at CPAC at National Harbor. Come on down. Things seem to be moving smoothly with Secret Service right now. If you get here by 10, you'll see the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, kick things off with our co-host this morning, Mercedes Schlapp. So thanks this is like your warm-up routine before you get
It
up
is
there
my
with
warm-up routine.
with the Veep. We're also at 7:05 going to talk with Dr. Robert Malone, who's going to walk around this place like the most vindicated man.
I know.
But we all sort of have that swagger, don't we? 8:05 KT McFarland, a lot of stuff going on with regard to foreign relations, the president's comments yesterday about the Zelensky in Ukraine. We'll get to all of that. But first, Mercedes, I don't know if you know this guy. He's the chairman of the American Conservative Union, and your husband, Matthew Schlapp. Matt, it's good to see you, my very dear friend. It's good to see
you, Larry. How many CPACs have you been to?
The first one was 2010, so this is number 16.
Wow.
In a row without a break.
Is it boring? Do you get tired of it?
No, you keep things lively.
I was going to say, if you're ever bored, just come to a CPAC. And
we were just
Mercy and I, we go to bed at night saying, what is this we're reading? Oh. Then we wake up in the morning, we're like, oh. and then we start immediately. She's like, I think we have to say this. I say, we can't say that. We have to say this. This is our marriage. It's like,
Your entire
our marriage is a war room.
is a comms war room.
It's a call.
She's calling
Crisis
someone.
comes.
I'm
Right.
calling
It's
someone.
like most married couples sit there and talk about what they're going to do this weekend, and you guys are in constant damage control. It's fantastic.
It's not all damage.
No,
It's
Sometimes
actually
it's
great.
opportunities, but
Lots
it's
of
just
great.
it's a collection of calamities and wonderful things.
Oh, it's so funny. And every time you see like all of these screaming headlines, and it's like, yeah, because it's CPAC time, and people just throw crap out there to try to.
It's actually a massive compliment.
It is. It
Because
100%
name
is.
the liberal thing that happens once a year where you and I would be sitting around saying, let's try to destroy them with lies and calumny.
right.
But wait, there's that group. What's the one, the Never Trumpers, and they're doing their
Oh, I
event?
forget that.
Principles,
The
yes.
What is it called? The Principles Project?
What is that guy's
or
name?
something?
Ham and Mayo?
I don't
Aren't they
know.
all
Ham and
over there?
Mayo.
Aren't they over
Who's
there?
Ham and Mayo? No, it's Alyssa Farah, and I forgot the group. I mean, it's like they're like
don't know,
no-namers.
but-
I don't know
They're
the name, but it'll have principles of morality in the title. Whenever someone starts with that,
Yes.
run. Run.
Or they
then
put the
we're
word
the most
project.
And then they
in.
bring Joe and Mika out as
Yes,
as their
exactly.
co-host.
And Joe and Mika come out and they start criticizing Donald Trump for being divorced and remarried. It's
Yeah.
like,
So-
okay.
No.
So the theme of CPAC this
Yeah.
year, I think when you sent me the link that said we've announced our theme, I just got this big smile. And it's like, yes, this captures the feeling that we all have right now, that we're talking about a vibe shift. Tell us about the theme of CPAC and why this resonates with so many Americans.
America back on track.
Back on track.
Do you know, Larry, you are you wrote a great book. You understand how to phrase things, and I find that for a long time, when people try to come up with a theme or whatever, I mean, they kind of over-intellectualize. They get their great books out and they start looking around. It's like it's like an interview. If I were to say to you, what's going on in America? What happened to America after this election? That's kind of how I come up with the
answer
theme.
is we're back on track.
We're back on track, and we'd bounced it around, because we have so many international people that I thought, well, it's got to be more international in scope.
Yeah.
But what you realize with all the international people, do you know actually what they want? This is the crazy part. They want a really strong America.
And
Yeah.
They
strong
want
leader,
us to cure
which
ourselves.
is Donald Trump.
I have to say it is remarkable because I get to meet so many international representatives because of what you've been doing with CPAC, and they all say we need America first. We want you guys to be America first.
Well, and they say we need a CPAC in their countries, which is just an incredible phenomenon. And they need, like, the Larry O'Connors in their countries. This is what's so fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Their
A lot of them
fight
don't have
with
them.
the fake news and their fight with the leftist propaganda machinery is insane. What they experience in so many of these countries. This is happening in countries, for example, like Poland. What's happening in Brazil, Mexico.
We just saw 60 Minutes doing this story about censorship in Germany, how people are getting arrested for liking a Facebook.
And,
That's right.
and London.
And people don't realize that, our First Amendment, not every aspect of our First Amendment is so important. They don't have shows like this.
No.
They don't have. You can get arrested
shut
in
them down.
Germany for criticizing the Prime Minister, the Chancellor.
Well,
Imagine
we
if
did that here.
That was a crime.
We did that here. John Adams was president, the Alien and Sedition Acts, and he had a thin skin, and he thought the reporters shouldn't be able to falsely accuse him of things, and he wanted to have the ability to jail them.
Yeah.
And the court said no. This is not what the Constitution is all about.
And I want to say, as much as the leftist media, they've done smear campaigns against us and CPAC, I'm so grateful that in America we have the freedom of the press and freedom of speech. And, I am, because it's such a unique
100%.
phenomenon in our country. So I do think that that's important. Now, when the leftist media is just all they do, is just
they're not the
destroy,
media.
destroy.
I think what's the difference is that when they what do they call it? Jump the shark.
Yeah.
They're really not media anymore. Right. They're an arm of the Democratic National
that's
Committee.
Different.
So then I think they should lose that constitutional protection
or that privilege.
Yeah, but if you're actually a real media company that's trying to cover the story, I don't even care if you have a tilt one way or the other. But like these reporters who call me and say, "Well, I just I'm tracking the truth." I was like, why does your truth always lead to attacking only Republican donors or only Republican senators?
But let's get back into this. I mean, with CPAC, what I love is that, first of all, Matt comes up with these incredibly very creative titles. So
for the panels,
yes.
I know.
What's your favorite?
My favorite one so far is Culture War, Take Your Truce and Shove It.
Do you know what that means? So there was a famous speech here at CPAC from a very prominent politician whose theme was, look, we keep arguing about things like gay marriage and abortion. Let's just call a truce.
Let's
try to cut taxes and reduce the scope
Paul
of
Ryan?
government. It was not, but it was ish.
Sounds like, because remember Paul Ryan did a CBS morning show over the school board meeting, and he said, I've never really been a culture warrior. And I'm like, that's the problem.
No. He said something worse than that. He said it might work in a primary, meaning we use these issues to gin up those morons like the Schlapps
Incredibly
to vote
cynical.
for us, but
Yeah.
we don't have any intention of doing anything about it. But anyway, I like that. My favorite one was, we were talking last night, Obama didn't care.
That's a good line.
That is a good one, because healthcare is outrageously out of control right now. Every time the left complains about it, I said, I'm sorry, I thought Barack Obama fixed all this.
Yeah. I do want to say the one that I'm very much looking forward to, and I'm honored to be serving as a moderator, is for the 2 hostages that have been freed, as well as members of basically these family members of the hostages still being detained.
The name of that panel, by the way, is Say Their Names.
Yes.
Because their names aren't being said. Back to the media, as we always sadly have to go back. Yeah, that one stuck out to me today as well. You're going to have a very busy day.
Pam Bondi is going to be here.
With Ted Cruz and Ben Ferguson on
seriously,
stage.
and I think there's going to be a very, hopefully, big surprise, too.
We have
We've
some
got
surprises that we haven't put on the schedule.
Well, I said the vote for Kash Patel is going to happen this afternoon. You should figure out a way to live stream it and stick it on the big screen.
Larry.
Because this room will go nuts when that vote comes through.
That's not a bad idea.
Wouldn't that be great?
That's not a bad idea. The only problem with that is, what's McConnell going to do? He's, this is the room could erupt in anger.
That's okay. We're used to it. We're used to it.
We got a little bit more here.
This is not a a turtle safe zone right now.
6:45 WMAL track. You've been talking to Mark Levin, who will also be here, right? Our buddy Mark Levin
with his boss,
with the boss, Julie Strauss Levin. 6:45 WMAL traffic and weather every 10 minutes. First on the fives with Jamie Whidden in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.